Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's September 14th and we're going to talk about melons. First thing I want to say is I was a real dodo. Now, some of you all might have done this before. This was actually a first for me, and we'll go through and talk about it. But I used to have cantaloupes in this one and this one and the rest of this one here, and now I just have those. And it was really a dumb mistake. I'm going to say it was dumb because watching the crops, and it looks like I already got some kind of varmint that wants to come out here and eat all my melons, whether it be a mouse or something. So we're going to have to set a trap, protect our cantaloupe. But these cantaloupes are looking really rough, and hopefully they'll make it through. They've got a whole lot of aphid damage. I took out a lot that had aphids on them, and this was a simple cause. Wouldn't have to have this cause, but what happened was we was having temperatures really way up in the 100 plus, up to 109, and I was running the drip system, making sure they got plenty of water, no overhead water. And I didn't realize that I saturated my soil. Now, this part of the garden itself has a clay layer a little higher than my garden area over there. And you have to understand this about wherever you're gardening. But what happened was, once I saturated that soil, these plants were suffering. They weren't suffering from the heat. They were suffering because they couldn't get oxygen to their roots. And so anyway, what I ended up doing was I noticed in the middle of my walkway, when I had my drip system on, that there was water pooling in it. And then that's when I realized it. And it would have been a simple deal to kind of feel down a little deeper in the soil and see. And the reason why I tell you this is it doesn't matter how long you've been gardening. If you don't pay attention to what's going on, you're going to end up doing something that's going to be a bad move, and it's going to be all on you. If you're in this real young generation, you want to blame something else, go right ahead. But I'm from the older generation. We take responsibility for our bad decisions, but anyway, some of them will survive okay because they didn't get affected quite so much. They are growing melons, cantaloupes, and I say melons, but cantaloupes are a melon. We've got some that are just almost getting ripe. Now these, of course, it'll get rid of the green. It'll start turning more of a yellowish orange color. And I don't pick mine. I wait for the vine to release, or when I just touch the vine, it'll release. So, but anyway, let's go look at some more. It's a constant battle keeping them from wanting to escape out of the garden or to get in the row where I don't want them. Right now, I'm not needing this row, so it won't hurt if they come out a little bit. But I'm going to have to get over here and deal with these because I do need this row, and these are starting to get carried away. Now these cantaloupes here are the Israel, and you can see as it's ripening, it looks different than the Hell's Best, which was the one we just looked at. But there's not as many on these as on the other ones, but that's okay. Now these other plants, they look a little different because these are honeydew melons, and they are putting on some melons. There's several hiding over in there, and hopefully they'll do all right. These and I don't know how far off it is from being ripe. I can see the vine is changing a little bit, but I'll do these the same way. Once they get to where they release, it's going to be that time. But you can see these leaves right here when they're curled up and there's aphids all over. And what I really need to do, and I always say what I need to do, is get in here and cut these runners off. In fact, this whole plant might need to come out, because once they get that way, they don't put on melons, and they just get worse and worse, and then it goes to another one. Now in the greenhouse here, where we had put some melons because we want to make sure we got some late, where we could protect them a little bit better. Some varieties, we did have some over here where we planted. We had, this whole row was full and this whole row was full, and we lost a bunch of them. And it could have been a water situation too. It's hard to say. It's a little easier to weed these, but these are starting to put on little melons. There's one. Now I don't know, they were blooming more in this area earlier, but I can't really see. Normally I'll start spotting them once they get some size to them. But it looks like there's a good chance we could have watermelons this year. Now as we go back here, this variety is Jubilee. Now it's starting to bloom. It had a few blooms off in the middle. It's just really taken off. I got to keep it out of my rows. I keep folding it back on top of itself. And I get out here and I look, and I try to find me a watermelon, but I haven't seen them yet. Now these were put in maybe 2-3 weeks after the watermelon's in the greenhouse. So these could be a little ways behind. It's just hard to say. And now out here I can't control the water to them. So if and there were a few that I had to take out, just a couple, I think, for aphids. And these rows here were actually the honeydews and the Rocky Ford green cantaloupes, and they got aphids real bad. So I just took them out and redid the row and put it into that. But anyway, that'll give you a little bit of information on the dodo move that I did. We all do it. I'm not afraid to say whenever I mess up, because maybe it'll keep you from messing up. And I'm not afraid to try to grow something a little later out of season. And we're finally getting some rain here this week, so that's a good thing. It's got the ground moistened. Hopefully it's not going to be too much to where I have to worry about the waterlog. I am on a hill and it dries out, so hopefully everything will work out good. But thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe, hit the bell and select all, and of course give this a big thumbs up. Enjoy that gardening experience.